Hello everybody, my name's Snugglebot, and today I'm going to give you a little slightly different video than what you're used to. I'm going to show you some of the behind the scenes stuff that goes on to make some of our channel graphics that you see throughout the videos and in the thumbnails. Now, why are we doing this, yes? Because we just hit a pretty good milestone. We hit 2,000 channel views, so thank you all for that, and I appreciate you guys continue watching the videos and your continued support onto it. So right now you'll see through the open menu a bunch of the graphics that we use throughout the videos, the Friday night logos, the spoiler alert, the camera not being done, and then here we have all the numbers that we see on the death counter for Crash. And all the graphics that I do is done on the software GIMP, which is essentially like Photoshop, but it is freeware that's being sent out and everything, so if you're ever interested in dipping your toes in some computer graphics and such, I would highly suggest using GIMP. It's a very versatile tool, and there's a plethora of online tutorials and stuff to get you to do pretty much everything that you ever wanted. So you'll see here we have the background that we use in the videos to separate the camera and the game. Now whenever I start doing something, I do a outline sketch onto it to kind of get a rough idea of where to set everything. That way I can come back in later with these more defined lines to actually make it. So a general rule with art that a lot of people use is doing this rough outline in like a blue or a gray color. That way it is definitely on there to where you can put the black on top and still see all your other lines underneath it. So for this is actually the start of our background that we're going to be using for the computer games. So from there, I did break my little stylus earlier that day when I was working on this. The tip of it fell off, so I forced myself to start using this ink tool, the ink pen tool, and actually it works really well. You can see here it makes some nice lines onto it, and it allows me to make rounded, more smooth edges than what you'll see on some of the earlier designs, which have a roughly not jagged per se, but not nearly as a uniform smooth curve onto it. But anyways, I thank you guys once again for supporting the channel and watching the videos. I'm going to be quiet here and just let you guys enjoy the music and watching this go at super speed. Alright, so right here you're going to see the back of the computer. It's going to have this little decal logo onto it. Now, I wasn't really in the search for some sort of like a symbol for the channel, but I decided that it may be good to have just a simple symbol outside of the Snugglebot space to draw. So we started out with this, and as you see there was the little curves, and I did not think that looked appropriate at all, so we changed that out. We just put a straight line down, and looking at it a little more, I saw that I didn't like that, so then we took that little space out of it. Now we got like a upside down Q coming out of a circle, so you may be seeing that symbol pop up a little bit more, and just reference to the Snugglebot gaming channel itself. So a very important step is to make sure that you keep yourself with enough layers onto it. You'll see here that I'm starting to erase some of the gray because instead of making a separate layer from the outline, I made the outline on the sketch layer. And this comes into importance because now when I do this background coloring that I'm doing on a layer that's below the outline, that gray is still going to be there. So I need to go back in and remove all of that gray. But here you can see how it should be done. It should be able to have the outline and then use a color layer to add the color behind it. It works well because it allows you to get up into the lines, and then the lines will mask over the little color variants onto it, and it makes it look all nice, even, and filled in. But yeah, you'll start seeing a little bit more attack here, and there's a couple of mistakes on the layers as well. But you can see how I get myself out of this jam. It's not the most graceful way to do it. So as you'll see here, I decided the best way for me to fix my mistake with the outlines is to just redo them on a separate layer, because it was going to take way too much time to go in and individually get the gray out, and I ran the risk of running into my outline lines and just making them to where they're not as smooth as they need to be, and then I would risk, running myself back over and doing them a second time. So it was easier just to redo what I already did instead of having to redo, fix, and redo, fix again. Now, it is something that added more time onto it, and if I would have just remembered to do a separate layer from the start, we wouldn't have had this problem, but hey, that's life, you learn from your mistakes. But I've made this mistake before in the past, and I still haven't learned from it, so maybe one day I'll be smart enough to fix it. So the color scheme that I decided to go with Snugglebot for the main part with the page is this nice, bright, vibrant green, because it gives it a very a robotic, computery feel to it. And then the second color I liked was this dark, bluish purple. Now, the reason for that is mainly because the favorite color of my mother is purple, so I decided to go with that because it's a color that has been used again, but I also don't like just the general royal purple. It's a little too much for my taste, so I like to make it a little bit darker with blue, which, ironically enough, is also my favorite color, so it all works out in the end. Alright, so now that we have the new foreground draw, it's time to space everything out, and since everything is pretty much dialed in, it's time to clean up the edges to make sure that there's no overlapping in color for the most part, just to make sure that everything looks smooth and crisp and that the lines are defined the way that we need them to be. So now we're going to go ahead and save it, and we're going to pop it over into Movie Studio that we used for making the videos, and make sure that it does line up the way that it needs to. So you'll see here we're going to open up the Crash Bandicoot one, and we're just going to replace what's already down there with that. So we notice that Snugglebot's a little bit too far into it, so we're going to just kind of cut him into his own space, size him down a little bit, move him around, and make sure that we're okay. Then in there you'll see a flashback to Movie Maker to kind of get a base of where the edge of the platform was on it itself. So we'll remove the background, put the stuff back down, fix the spaces that are empty, and we'll go ahead and export this again and move it back into the movie. See that it's still not there, so we'll scoot it over just a little bit more, re-import it, and there we go. We have the computer there and everything's good. Alright, so thanks you everybody for your continuous support and watching the channel grow with me. If you'd like to see more of these behind the scene videos, go and let me know down in the comments, that way I can provide what you guys want to see. But if you like the video, go and snuggle on up to that like button and give it a firm, yet sensual click. And I look forward to seeing all of you in the next video.